Welcome everybody. This is Cherie with Rehashfiber. It's a new year and I have a new goal of using up the stash. So I am calling this the Rehashfiber Use the Stash Challenge. So today for you, I've got some things to think about, some tips for getting your stash ready to use, and then 12 great patterns that will help you use the stash. So let's get started. There's a couple ways you can look at your stash. I look at mine as fun potential, just sitting there waiting to be used. And the longer it sits there, I start to feel a little uneasy because I do want to be using it. So by setting a goal to use it up, I'm going to feel a lot better. Now, another way you could look at it, like my dear friend Erica, she sees her yarn and fiber as like a spice rack, something there ready to be used when you need it. If you're like me and you want to get it used up, stick with me here. Everything I'm going to tell you today and everything I'm going to work on the year are items that matter. I don't want to use up extra yarn just for the sake of using it up. I want to make some great things and I want to share that with you too. Because you want to have good things, whether it's for yourself or if it's for your gift stash. So that's the goal. All right, I do want to touch on restrictions. You know yourself and you know your life, so you can plan that however you want. This hobby brings us great joy, and so you want to stay along the path that's going to keep bringing you joy. And if having too much fiber is messing with that joy, then yes, you do need to use it up and quit buying it, but only you can say. So my balance is I do not try to buy more, but I allow myself to. So what happens is, there's things that come along that latch on to me, whether it's a pattern, beautiful yarn, or something. And I don't buy quickly, but I kind of think it through while I'm there and get ideas of how it's going to be used so that there is a plan. But I do buy it because there is this very special feeling of having that memory of wherever I was, whether, special trip, yarn store, farm, that it's very much a treasure when I bring it home with me. And I know I can always turn it into something here to show you. But that you need to work out for yourself on how you're going to pace yourself with using it up and not bringing in more. Here's another thing I do for myself to keep myself sane, and I want to share it with you, is that intermix your projects. I usually have more than one going, and I know a lot of people do. If you're working on one that's taking long and more detailed, a bit harder, do something in between that's fun, fast, quick, and easy, because you get that sense of accomplishment in a short period of time. You have used up yarn, and now you have something that you can use or give away. I love those stocking caps that only take a day or two. That is a lot of fun. One other thing, if you like to reward yourself. So over this next year, as you finish each item, maybe think of something that is a slight reward system. If you'd like to ring a bell, put $1 in the jar, save that up for more yarn later. Or personally, what I do is I have a whiteboard with the list of everything I'm going to do, from the patterns to the things I want to learn to the things I want to teach. And as each thing happens, I take it off the whiteboard and I feel better. So find a reward for you. That might be a little fun thing along the way. All right, so let's get on to some of the tips to get ready for the Use the Stash Challenge. It's good to organize. Pull out everything you have and you can organize it by weight or by color. Also, if you have patterns in mind, you can start pulling the yarn aside for which yarn would work with that pattern. So I had pondered bringing everything out to show it to you, and we can see how it had got whittled down at the end of this year, but the thought of that caused me more stress. So I thought, nope. You can see a little bit here of what I have, but I'm leaving it nicely tucked away and organized, and I know where to get it when I need it. But as the items are finished, I get to take them off the whiteboard, and I am going to create a nice little drawer full of the items so that at the end of the year, we can all see what is done. That's how I'm going to reward myself there. All right, if you really want to use up yarn quickly, weave it. If you're a weaver, you know how that goes. Just loading up the loom, you can get a couple of cakes done. The projects go fast, it's fun, and it's easy once you know how to do it. You can get a samplet rigid heddle loom for under $250. And I have a great video on how to use a rigid heddle loom. And once you get rolling on that, you can really go through some yarn and make nice things. If your yarn is itchy or low quality, make it a rug. There are great crochet patterns out there. You can hold the yarn as many strands as you want to get that nice bulky yarn to crochet a rug thickness. I've got a couple of rug patterns on my playlist on YouTube. You can check that out. It would be under the crochet and just look for those rugs. That is another project that goes quickly, uses up a ton of yarn, and then you've got this great thing. So think about rugs. That itchy yarn does not need to be wasted. Just use it creatively. There's one other thing that does take a little bit of process, but if you want to knit faster, switch from English style to continental. It is slower at first, but then once you get going, it is fast and you can really just knit things up a lot quicker. All right, so now we're going to get on to the 12 great patterns I have for this year. All right, so the first thing I'm going to tell you is every one of these patterns can be found on Ravelry. They vary in price. Some are free, some cost. It's worth it. Pay that designer for what we're using here. All right, we're gonna start off with what I think is the most brilliant thing of this past year. It's called the Sophie scarf. You probably already know about it. Every day I see it on Instagram. Somebody's making it, somebody's wearing it, and it's brilliant. It's simple, it's quick, it uses up a small amount of yarn, and you have something very stylish to wear. So Sophie's scarf is by Petite Knits. It's DK weight. However, you can be a little flexible with that because it'll just, if you use a smaller weight, you'll have a smaller scarf, larger. The yardage is 140 yards approximately. That's also flexible. And if you're doing it on a DK weight, it's the size 4 knitting needle. Now here's what I think is really cool. She gives you the tip in the pattern. If you have a cake or ball of yarn, weigh it before you start. Then you start to make the scarf and it just grows little by little and gets bigger and bigger. But what you do is you keep weighing what you've knitted, and when you get to where it weighs half as much as what the ball is, then you start decreasing to finish your scarf. And that's brilliant. So I have that one ready to go. I weighed my yarn and now I'm gonna knit this thing. It's gonna be great. So give Sophie's scarf a try. All right, number 2 on the list is the Seaglass sweater. It's by Woolen Pine. It calls for a DK weight on a 7 knitting needle. And look at all the different colors you can use. Now you can pick a colorway and stay with the similar colors, or like here and you see in the sample, many different colors were used. And it looks really pretty. For this pattern, it changes colors every stitch. So I think it would be a fun goal for me to try this, doing it in continental and English style so that I get both going. We'll see if I can get to that this year. Third, we have the baby bear bonnet. I thought this was just so cute. Can you imagine a little baby with this? It's darling. It's by Pernille Larsen. It takes 246 yards on a size 6 knitting needle. And it's a DK weight. Now here's the tip. You can hold lace and fingering together to get the DK weight. So you can play around with different weights to get what you need for the project. That one will go quick, make you feel good. All right, number 4 is the yoga mat tote. It's crocheted and it's by Claire A. Denny. Now I made one of these already and my friends are asking me for one. Even where I do yoga, they're like, oh, you should sell these. And I'm like, I'm not in the business. Plus, you know, the whole selling of someone's copyrighted pattern can't be done, but everybody's liking it. So if you know somebody that likes yoga, they will appreciate this really cool crocheted carrying tote for it. It's out of Aran weight, 185 yards with an I crochet hook. Number 5, the Happy Scrappy Shawl by All Knit Up Designs. Super excited to start this one. because I see the trend that I've done. I knit a lot of tops in like blues and greens. Well, now I have a whole lot of remnants in those colors, and I thought, oh, what a great shawl this will be. It'll be kind of coordinating and probably a gift for somebody else because I already have every t-shirt in all those colors. So it is fingering weight, 800 to 900 yards, and a US 5 knitting needle. All right, this one, number 6, Abstract Cats, can be a blanket or a rug. I'm very excited to start this because I actually have cat yarn that I knitted up from cat for ages ago when I first started spinning. And I was so excited, I just kept spinning and spinning because I had access to tons of cat fur. And this pattern is by Teresa Richardson. It's worsted weight and size K hook. Now for me, the cat fur is very thick, maybe as thick as my thumb. I've got a huge wooden crochet hook, and I'm just gonna make a big thick rug. Hopefully the abstract cats show up on. Nonetheless, I'm gonna get it used up. But you see how you could use a variety of weights there and have either a blanket or a rug. Very nice. Number 7, the Whidbey bag by Wool and Pine. I'm so excited to do this year. I am still spinning some of the fiber for it, so there's a little patience involved with that. But it's a DK weight, 500 yards, and a US 4 needle. What's neat is you knit up this bag, and then you take some of your remnant yarn and you weave it in with a needle, and it adds all these colorful stripes, and it's gonna be so much fun. Number 8 is the Seaside Stash Busting Blanket. It's a crocheted blanket, and it's by Eleonora Tully. It's made out of a DK weight, and that is all the information it gave me on Ravelry. This is a good one if you've got a lot of yarn that you want to use up and the colors are fun together. I'd say go for it. You're going to have a really nice blanket. Number 9, we've got the Granny Stripes blanket, another crochet item. Here you go, another one to use up the yarn. It's by Lucy of Attic 24. It's a DK weight with a G hook. That'll be a fun one. Number 10 is the Puff Flower Scarf. I saw this and I was hooked because I love things that are unique. And check it out, this is definitely unique. So what I'll be doing is if I don't have this in my own stash, I may have to dye some hand spun that looks similar because I just love the way this color is. It's by Meladora's Creation. It's a worsted weight on a 4.5 hook. Number 11 is a scrap yarn basket. It is crocheted and it's by Cintia Gonzales. It's out of super bulky. You can hold yarns together till you get to that super bulky weight. And it's on an M or N hook. Lastly, number 12 is the textured stripe Scrappy hat. Go ahead and use up those remnants. This is by Shira. Fingering weight, 80 to 400 yards. So you have a great flexibility in size, which means how much yarn you have to use up. And it's on a US 2 size knitting needle. So there's the 12 patterns that I picked out for you. However, throughout the year, as I find more things to do and I use up more of my stash, I'm going to share it with you so that you keep having more ideas all along the way. What I would love from you is any input you want to give. If you have a great pattern that uses up the stash, any great tips that I didn't mention, if you want to share your work, especially if it all accumulates and at the end of the year you would like to share how much you used up, that would be fantastic. Everything can be emailed to rehashfiber@outlook.com and I will share it. We are fiber community and it's great. I'd like to give a big shout out to our newest Patreon member, Christy Herbert. She is helping support the show and keep it going. If you all are enjoying the show and want to help out, go to Patreon. You can get there via my website, rehashfiber.com. If you sign up and just give as little as $3 to $5 a month, it helps with every aspect of the show to keep it going and to keep fiber information going out to all of you. Also, I recently started putting these videos on Patreon, so if you become a member, you can watch them there ad-free. It's just a little way that I can say thank you so much for supporting this show. There's also a few extra things I do there that the Patreon members can take advantage of. So I want to give a big thanks to all the Patreon members that help with the show. All right, everyone, there's a bunch of fun things planned for the year, and I cannot wait to do it all with you. Happy using up that stash, and thanks for watching.